So Marvel Rivals is a game with a huge roster. It launched with 33 characters at the start, and at the time of this recording we're at 44, with Rogue later on in the half season being number 45. So there are a ton of characters in this game. But today I wanted to talk about heroes that I feel Netease has failed and neglected overall. However, keep in mind that there are characters that aren't included in this video that I do feel are sort of in the back end of things too. But today I wanted to talk about the more obvious victims and honestly just how terrible these characters have it. So without further ado, let's just get on to the first character that I feel Netease has neglected and failed completely. So yes, Black Widow, she's definitely like the most obvious choice people think about when it comes to a character that's currently struggling in the game. We are almost an entire year into the game and Black Widow has consistently been at the bottom tier of characters season after season after season. So to be more specific on how Netease failed the character, this game is just not made for traditional snipers. I said it, I'm sorry, but I said it, and that's just how it is. However, to elaborate on that, I'm not saying that traditional snipers don't have a place in Marvel Rivals or could have a place there. The thing is, it's just with the way the game is laid out and is currently unfolding, it's really hard for a traditional sniper to function in that environment because man, oh man, this game is very aggressive. It is super volatile and it favors aggressive playstyles more than any other. Now I know a lot of people will say like, oh, you know, Hawkeye is a sniper too. Is he struggling as much as Widow? And I say no, because he's not really a traditional sniper. He's more so a hybrid that kind of has to play with his team. Not in the sense that he's very team reliant, but more so that he has to kind of be in the middle of everybody else in order to get the shots that he wants to get while being safe. Because as of now, he is the only character that can one-shot people. Think about that. The semi-sniper guy, the bow and arrow guy, can one-shot people while the actual sniper character can't. But I'm not gonna sit here and say that Black Widow needs to be one-shotting people because that just doesn't seem like fun. I don't think one-shots in general are fun. And it's like, bro, I don't think the game needs one-shots. The game is already going through its own issues. We don't need one-shots to be one of them. But to get back to Black Widow, I know that ever since the beginning of the game, she's gotten very little changes to her kit. I know they did something to her grappling hook, which is like, okay. But most recently, she got that Phoenix team up where it essentially turns her into a strategist, and that is obviously her most notable change. And I know that has been a point of contention on whether Black Widow should be reworked into strategist. I've seen some people say they just wanted to keep her as a duelist, but rework her kit. And I've seen people just outright say like, no, she just needs to be a strategist. I personally am under the camp of her being changed into a strategist because I feel like that way you could sort of keep her sniper playstyle. Because let's be honest, with the way they're changing Black Widow, it's very slow. And if you want to play a character that snipes people across the map, there are far more better options in the current roster than Black Widow. Hawkeye can do it better, and Hela is just, why play Black Widow when you can just play Hela, especially if you want to win? We honestly just have to wait and see what Netease does with Black Widow because it's been a year in and they kind of haven't done anything. And again, she's been consistently the weakest DPS season after season, and it's just ugh. But anyways, let's move on to the second character that I feel Netease has completely neglected. Blade. Oh, where do I even begin with this character? So Blade released in season 3, if I'm not wrong. I could be misremembering, but he released somewhere in season 3, whether it be the beginning or the mid-season of it. And I remember people were saying, oh my god, Blade is busted, this and that. And these people were the same people that got early access to him. The very same people that play against the bots, because they kind of have to when it comes to the early access stuff. They're not allowed to play the character in servers because he's not even implemented in it. But yeah, you had like several videos talking about, oh my god, Blade is busted, this and that, blah blah blah. And the dude comes out and he is absolute ass. I think that is the best way I can put it. He was just not good. Now don't get me wrong, there are some good things in his kit, which is like his gun, but for a character with the name Blade, you wouldn't think his gun would be like the best part of his kit. And even then, his gun holds no candle to like Bucky's or something. See, Blade's playstyle is around this one gimmick being his transformation state. Everything he does with his swords is essentially tied to this ability, because outside of that, you're not going to be using your swords just on its own without the transform state. But here's the thing, this gimmick comes at a high cost where he receives reduced healing. And like, yeah, he gets self-healing, but it's just not enough of a trade-off to be worth getting like, what is it, like 30-something% reduction, healing reduction or something? Especially with heroes like Bucky around, Hela, Namor. The guy is legit gonna get pub stomped. Okay, so I double check and the ability is called Bloodline Awakening. However, I was wrong on the number of the healing reduction that he would get. It's actually even higher, dude. He gets 40% healing reduction and 36% lifesteal abilities. Like, even if you do the math, that just makes no sense. It's a big trade-off. And this isn't even considering the fact that in order for him to be using Bloodline Awakening, he has to be in front of somebody's face. This includes being in front of Bucky's face, Hela's face, Daredevil, Gambit of all people. Like Gambit, he has to be in front of Gambit now. Like, I'm sorry, Blade ain't doing shit. I'm sorry, he's just not doing anything. And the thing that pains me the most about all of this is Blade is such a cool character. I think he's one of the coolest comic book characters that are out there, and it sucks to see him be so shit at the game. Like, for crying out loud, Netease has been teasing Blade since like the beginning of the year. Out of all the characters in the roster, there has been no character that has been teased and like no character where we have been blue-balled other than Blade. Like, remember the whole thing where it's like, oh, Blade is asleep, Blade is over here, Blade is eating, Blade is taking a shit, whatever. No other hero got that treatment. It was just Blade. So to see him come out and he is just dog water is kind of like, wait, what? Like, the guy came out in August, and as of now that we're in December, how many months is that? Like 4? Netease really hasn't tinkered all that much with him, and it just seems like they aren't going to do that at all. I think his ult is pretty good. I think his anti-healing capabilities are pretty decent, but it's like, that's all the guy gets. He only has that one good thing, and that's his anti-healing, and everything else, he's just like, he's in a situation where it's like, you could just do better by picking somebody else. But yeah, big disappointment, and can he please get a good costume? I don't think Blade has any good costumes at the moment. Like, where is the all black leather trench coat at, huh? But anyways, let's just move on to our next disappointment. This is kind of depressing the longer I go. So let's just move on to failure number 3. Ultron. Oh, Ultron. Okay, so Ultron is... he's a different breed of disappointment and failure on Netease's part, especially when it comes to design. Not just for him individually, but for the strategist role in general. Like, what is that kit? What in God's name is that kit? Like, I feel like you can say that Netease was developing this character completely forgetting that he's gonna be a strategist in mind, but even then, hypothetically speaking, he would be a very boring DPS as well, just as much as how boring he is as a strategist with the design they chose to push him through with in the game. And now, worst of all, he's bad. Like, he's legit just terrible. Even as like a third support option, he's not good too. Like, why would you go third support Ultron when you could just go Mantis, even Adam Warlock, even Loki? In fact, you would have a better time by just not picking Ultron at all and just going to third DPS than if you did actually just go to Ultron. Like, here you have this villain that does so much. He's obviously incredibly strong. He has obviously super intellect, and he's able to transfer himself into like different machines and whatnot. So it's like they could have done more other than, hey, robot fly, robot zap, robot throw drone. In fact, I actually had a funny idea. This isn't serious, so please don't take this completely serious. Don't get angry. I promise I don't mean it. But for all we know, they could have made, you know, Ultron into, for those that know, they could have made him into Sombra from Overwatch. They could have given him an ability where he's able to, quote, hack an enemy, and that enemy is locked out of their cooldown for a certain amount of seconds. I know, that sounds terrible. I don't know. I just thought like Ultron, oh, hack, and it just instantly reminded me of Sombra from Overwatch. But I digress. Before I continue on with the video, I just wanted to give a quick reminder that if you guys haven't already, like and subscribe. We've gone past 1,000 people on this channel, and honestly, it's pretty wild. So if you guys are watching this video and enjoying it or agree with it or whatever, it would really mean the world to me if you could just hit that subscribe button and the notification bell and just leave a like. It all goes a long way. But without getting too sidetracked, let's just get back to the video. Now, as for the last spot in terms of who I think Netease is kind of neglecting, especially as of recently, whether it be directly or indirectly, is actually two characters which essentially have the same playstyle in terms of what they're supposed to be doing to the backline, and that is Black Panther and Spider-Man. Like, oh boy, where do I begin with these two? I feel like when people hear Black Panther, they, especially with the metal ranks, they panic, right? Same thing with Spider-Man. Like, people hear that and they think like, oh, let's insta-ban them. I hate BP, I hate Spider-Man. And to those people, I get you, you know? I don't like having to deal with the backline that is having a hard time with those characters. But these characters have a playstyle that a lot of people like, right? It's almost like Black Widow. That's why I don't entirely want to neglect that playstyle of Sniper, because there is a niche, there's a subset of players that want that sort of playstyle in the game. You know, Overwatch has it, they have Widowmaker, and they also have that playstyle that BP and Spider-Man players kind of fill, which is like your Genjis, your Tracers, and so on. Netease has changed so much around the game, with whether it be different characters, whether it be certain balance adjustments, that in the end, they ended up indirectly nerfing Black Panther and Spider-Man pretty hard this season especially. People always called Black Panther the tickle monster, but this is before everyone came to the notion that, yeah, triple support is the way to go, and before people found out just how busted it truly is, that he really doesn't do anything anymore. Like, he is essentially become voided. And the same thing applies to Spider-Man, but the thing is, I will put Spider-Man or Black Panther in terms of value, because at least Spider-Man has the ability to dislocate enemies and reposition them. I also think his ult is a lot more useful than Black Panther's, but it's like, yeah, it's like, how could you have not noticed that certain characters would be affected heavily by the choices you make balance-wise? Like, that is a definition of true neglect and ignorance, really, when you completely ignore how your changes could potentially affect other characters in a completely inadequate way that isn't intentional at all. Like, I don't think all the changes that were made so far to date were to specifically make Black Panther and Spider-Man worse, because if that were the case, Netease would have just directly hit Spider-Man and BP with direct nerfs to their stats, but obviously that wasn't the case. They may have done it here and there. I'm not so quite sure about like their patch history, because I don't really play those characters, but I do know that I think Spider-Man was like tuned down a bit at some point, and I haven't seen any other time other than in this season where people are calling for a Black Panther rework. And honestly, while I don't play the character enough to say whether he needs one or not, I mean, hey, if people that play him think that he needs a rework, by all means, more power to them. I hope they get what they want. I hope everybody gets what they want in this game, so long as it doesn't, you know, obviously hinder the experience of others. I don't think a Black Panther rework, depending on how it isn't going to ruin everyone's experience. So you know what, I'm all for it. I'm not going to sit here and be one of those people with like 10 minutes on Black Panther or Spider-Man and be like, oh, you know, the character should not be reworked because blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying anybody that doesn't play a certain character can't have an opinion on said character. Like what I was talking about Widowmaker, or what's her name? Black Widow. I and a lot of people say, hey, let's just make her strategist. And I'm assuming a lot of people don't play Widowmaker because of that. Or, god damn it, Black Widow. But that's almost because nobody wants to play Black Widow, because inherently she's kind of flawed by design with the current game. Like I said, I don't want to like make this about Black Widow all of a sudden, but you guys get my point. To close out this video, okay, there are many other characters that I did not mention that are going through, you know, the shitter. Like The Thing, for example, Hulk, Thor. I didn't bring them up individually because I feel like Vanguard as a whole is kind of going through the shitter, minus some tanks like Emma Frost, Angela, or Magneto. And I honestly feel like that's a different video on its own, which I've made in the past. I just more so wanted to focus on specific characters as of this season, because here for reference, characters like Black Widow and Blade have always been kind of dookie since the start. So players that gravitate towards those two specific characters wouldn't know any better because they've always been kind of bad. But then you go over to characters like Spider-Man and Black Panther, who have always been at least good, suddenly become almost unplayable during certain circumstances and matches, and that's just like a rug pull. They had something in their hands and Netease just stole it from them. But not to make this video any longer, what do you guys think? What are characters that you guys think Netease has sort of neglected, whether it be since day one or a specific season or up until the present? Just go ahead and write it down in the comment section below. And again, I appreciate you guys for watching this video. As of the time of this recording, we did hit over 1,000 people on the channel, which is, you know, crazy. And I just wanted to extend my thanks to every single one of you. And if you guys haven't, if you guys seen this video and you guys aren't subscribed yet, I hope you guys kindly do me the favor of subscribing. It obviously keeps you in the know whenever I upload. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all on the next one. Peace.